Hi, this is Phong with Remax Advantage Plus. I'm here with my friend Nancy Vischer, and she has been an appraiser, and she owns her own company, Everest House Valuation. She started her company in January 2016. She's a residential appraiser and appraises single-family homes and multi-family up to 4 units, as well as condominiums. And she worked throughout the Twin Cities metro area. Hello, Nancy. Thanks for
Fun.
joining me.
Thank you. It's so good to see you again.
Same here. Um, so there are lots of questions that are being asked, and we have like top 5 questions that we can ask you. So here goes the first question. How much will the value of my property increase if I remodel the kitchen, remodel baths, finish the basement, etc.?
That's a really good question. That's a question I get a lot. And the thing I always tell people is that the cost to improve your home, whether it's kitchen, bath, finish a basement, does not equate to the value that that's going to bring back to your house. So it can be between 40, 60, 70%. But if you spend $100,000 on your kitchen or $50,000 remodeling your kitchen, whatever number that is, your house is not going to increase by 50,000 or 100,000 the next day when that's done. So I always tell people, if you want to remodel the kitchen, remodel the bathrooms, finish the basement, do that because that's what you want for your house, not because you think it's going to make your house sell for this much more or make your house more valuable the next day.
Okay. Number 2, what do appraisers specifically look for when appraising a house for FHA?
FHA is really particular, and they do have a little bit lower interest rates, and they have some nice programs for people. So especially mid to lower income people really like FHA, but FHA focuses on safety, soundness, and condition. Some of the things, there's a ton of things that have to be called out, but I would say the main things are peeling, chipping paint. So on the exterior of a house, they want every piece of wood to have been everything that's painted to stay painted and not be that wood should not be exposed to the elements. So chipping, peeling paint is important. Safety rails on handles, safety rails if there's more than 3 steps going up to the front of the house. Let's see, what are some other things? Oh, FHA focuses on your water heater must have a safety release valve and piping to divert steam. That's really important to FHA because a water heater could like explode and blow up if it malfunctioned and hurt the residents. Other things are CO and smoke detectors. A CO detector must be on every level of the home, and a CO detector must be within 10 feet of every bedroom, and all bedrooms must have a smoke detector inside them. Those are just a couple of the many, many rules that appraisers have to follow and things that appraisers have to call out when they're appraising for FHA.
I saw one came and appraiser looked at a garage sensor.
Yes.
The sensor that's at the bottom of your garage door that allows when you walk over, it allows so the garage door doesn't come down and hit somebody. Is
Yes.
that one of the things they look for?
That is one of the things I always, every time I do an FHA appraisal, I always test the garage door and then have it come down and then trip it with my foot to make sure it goes back up as if a little kid was running underneath it.
Yeah.
And that's why that is a safety issue. And that's why you have to have those. Yes. Good point.
Okay. Yeah.
And one
All
of the
right.
many.
Yeah, that's a lot. Question number 3. How do appraisers choose comparables?
A really good question. We first take the property. The subject is not going to change location. So if the subject backs up to a busy road, a water tower, Lake Minnetonka, whatever the subject is on, it's going to stay there. And so it's really important for appraisers to look at that. If it's lakefront, you want only lakefront properties as comparables, and you preferably, and if it's if you have a water tower, a busy road behind the house, you want another comp with a busy road or some sort of external factor that can, like that subject has. Other things we look for are the size, the above grade square footage of the house, how many bedrooms, bathrooms it has. Is it a rambler? Is it a split level? Is it a 2-story? And what year was it built? All those things play into how we go ahead and choose our comparables. And then we try to go back only 6 months, especially with the way the market has been so increasing during COVID and now stable, but interest rates are increasing or have been increasing. Now they're starting to come down. It's really important for appraisers to choose comps, if possible, that are really close to, that are really recent, in order to account for the changes, the fluctuations in the market.
Good. That leads us to question number 4. How do appraisers make adjustments?
Appraisers do a lot of different things for adjusting. We use regression analysis. There's statistical analysis, regression, there's paired sales. There are a whole bunch of different analyses, ways to go about that. And now there's a few different programs that will help appraisers do that. So I use a program called Spark. And what I do is I go out maybe 1 mile, maybe 2 miles, depending on the property. If I have a 10-acre property that I'm appraising, I might go out 10 miles and look for similar comparables on acreage. And go back a year or maybe even 2 years and gather up all those comps. And then I put it into the database. And then it helps me decide, what is a bathroom worth with this kind of house? What is the square footage adjustment I should make for above grade? What is the square footage adjustment for basement finish that I should make? What is the site adjustment? So appraisers use a lot of statistical analysis to come up with those adjustments. We don't just pull it out of the air and say, I'm thinking $10,000 for a bathroom here, 15,000 for a garage,
we don't want that.
Yeah.
Good. What are the most important factors to consider when appraising a property?
Yeah, I feel like I jumped the gun. I already answered that one a little bit, but so again, it's like location. What kind of a property is it? Is it a 1-story, a 2-story? Is it a townhouse, a 2-story townhouse, or a one-level living townhouse? Those things are all really important. A lot of one-level living townhouses don't have basements, they're on slab. So you're trying to find 3, 4, 5 comps that are very similar to the subject, and then make the adjustments that are different. So if I'm doing a one-level living townhouse and I've got a comp that's very similar, but it has a basement and a finished basement, I've got to basically take that out of the comp to make it just like the subject. So when we have the subject and we put our comps into the report, and then what we're doing is taking away, if that comp has a 3-car garage and our subject only has 2 cars, then we take away that extra garage by valuing it at maybe $10,000, maybe $15,000. That's where my statistical analysis is going to come in. And I'm going to take away that 3rd-car garage. So I make that comp more similar to my subject. And you do the same thing with bathrooms, square footage, that kind of thing.
You mentioned basement. Typically, how much do you take away for that comp?
It really depends on the area and the statistical analysis that I've done. So it's going to be different if I'm looking like this spring I appraised a really nice big rambler, very newly constructed, of higher quality, and it was on slab. And all the comps that I could find, also similar quality, similar condition, newly constructed, but they all had basements. And so my statistical analysis really had to, I really had to work on that to figure out, one, what's the value of just having a basement? And 2, what's the value if that basement is finished? So in that case, I made 2 different adjustments because some houses have unfinished basements, but that's still something the slab doesn't have. They have a ton of room for storage. They have a ton of room for expansion. And so it's really important. So in that case, I make 2 different adjustments, one for having a basement, or basically when I'm talking about the comp, kind of taking away that basement, and then another adjustment for taking away the finish that basement has.
Okay. good info. And finally, what situations when people need an appraisals?
A lot of times, anytime anybody refinances or purchases a home, they often need an appraisal. And even if they're paying cash for a home, it's a
Mhm.
really good idea to get an appraisal to make sure you're paying what the value of the house is actually worth. You don't want to overpay for a house, right? I also I do appraisals during when people are getting divorced or separated. Oftentimes, at least one appraisal is needed for that. When someone passes away when a homeowner passes away, oftentimes a divorce is needed for that estate to divvy up the wealth of that deceased person. And then I also do tax appeal appraisals. In the spring, that's going to really pick up. Now that the market has gone, housing values have increased a lot over the last few years, and now counties are starting to catch up. So people's tax assessed value is going to be increasing, which is going to increase their real estate tax. And so if someone thinks that that they're being taxed too much, or that their house is being valued too high for tax purposes, I'd be happy to help them out and help them with a tax appeal appraisal that they can take to the city or the county and appeal to have their taxes reduced.
Oh, that sounds like some tax savings there. That's
Yeah.
really good. So how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, yes. Well, I am Nancy Vischer at Everest House Valuation. My website is everesthousevaluation.com. My phone number is 612-968-0518. And people can just reach out to me via my website or give me a phone call or a text anytime. I'm happy to help.
Well, thanks, Nancy. This has been awesome. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Fong. I appreciate it.